Hi there everyone, sorry just running a couple of minutes late today. I have had a fantastic question from someone this week which we're going to touch on today in terms of ankle stability, and it also leads on to knee stability and hip stability. So I'm going to show you a few little tricks and also just explain a few things in terms of why we get these instabilities and why is it that a simple ankle sprain can lead to having long-term ankle instability, and why that doesn't need to be the case. So hopefully that'll answer a few of your questions. But just remember when you log on today, and particularly if you're on live, say hi. If you're watching the recording, then still say hi, because I still get those in the comments and I like to see who has watched. And then give me any feedback. So anything that you want to hear about. So it could be particular injuries that you want to know more about. It could be a particular rehab or sort of past treatment that you've had and why it's worked or why it hasn't worked. Specific questions. So anything you would like to know about that is sort of vaguely physio related, feel free, shoot me a PM or comment in the comments below this video, and I'll cover it over the next either next week or over the next few weeks, depending on how many requests I get. So first in, best dressed. So if you comment quickly, then I will cover those topics sooner. All right, so today, firstly, thanks to Janet for this question. She was asking about how to teach particularly young netballers how to land properly. And I suppose that kind of comes down to, we know that knee, and you need to have been living under a rock to not think that ankle and knee stability is a real issue, and ankle and knee injuries are therefore a real issue in netball. But don't switch off. If you think that, oh well, I don't play netball, so this doesn't apply to me, it doesn't matter. This is landing for a whole host of different reasons. So it could be landing in netball, it could be landing from a layup in basketball, it could be landing from a mark or in football, for instance. It could be landing from a header in soccer. It could be landing from jumping from a wall playing with your kids on the weekend. So this applies to everyone. We all jump and land, just some of us do it more than others. Some of us do it in a more structured way than others. So don't think it doesn't apply to you, but the question was specifically about netball. So I'll kind of relate it to that, but then we can make some assumptions into other sports and other lifestyle activities. But again, if you've got any sort of specific things, how does this apply to XYZ? Feel free, chuck it in the comments below or send me a PM and I can answer those specific questions. So if I address it in terms of ankle injuries, what happens with an ankle injury, or what happens with any ligament injury, is a normal ligament. If you think about a normal ligament having fibres, and they all run in the same direction. Within those fibres, we have nerve fibres as well. And what those nerve fibres tell our body is when that ligament is being stretched. So we go to roll over on our ankle and that ligament is stretched, sends a message through those nerves, through our spinal cord, back down to the muscles on the outside of our ankle to stop that ankle from tipping over. So it pulls it back to a neutral position. And that happens before we've even really realised that we're rolling over on our foot. So then what happens in an ankle that has had an injury? So going back to those fibres again, we've got those nice straight fibres. Now we've got less fibres, okay? So if you think about now our ligament's that thick, okay, because we've torn some fibres. But with that, we've also torn those nerve fibres as well. So now, when we stretch that ligament, it stretches further. So if we relate that to ankle position, we go over further before that message is even sent, okay? So now, stretches further before the message is sent, but also remember we've torn some nerve fibres in there as well. So now we've got a message that's slower, so it gets sent further down the line, excuse me, but also the message is quieter as well, because there aren't as many nerve fibres actually giving us that information. So now when we're going over on our ankle, instead of tipping to there before the message is sent, it's tipping to there. So it's a lot harder to recover from. The message that's going up through our spinal cord and coming back to those muscles is quieter. And then from there, we need to look at whether that's actually a recoverable position or not. So whether that's actually going to come back. So then when we've got that ligament injury, that's why we're more susceptible to getting further ligament injuries. So what can we do about that? So we've got our normal ligament, we've torn those nerve fibres, and we've torn those ligament fibres. Hi Jackie. Then you're looking at, and happy birthday Jackie, by the way, it's Jackie's birthday today and she's just logged on live, so hi. Then we're looking at, so normal ligament, all your ligament fibres and all your nerve fibres intact. Then when we take that tear, we've got less ligament fibres, less nerve fibres. What can we do to enhance that recovery? Well, early rehab is going to help those ligament fibres and nerve fibres recover quicker, not overstressing it. So once we've actually got that injury, let's not go from that to that. Okay, so the more injury we have, obviously, the longer the recovery, the less nerve fibres, the less ligament fibres we've got. Okay, so early rehab is really, really good. But then what we can also do, going back to those landing mechanics, is if we're getting over to here before those messages are actually pulled up, good rehab's going to get us to there, good mechanics is actually going to get us landing in a really good position. Okay? And I touched on this in the live a couple of weeks ago, that right now I can do screening, and there's a really great little knee screen that we can do that's really, really quick and easy. And I can either do it in clinic, or if you are a manager of a sports team, or you play in a sports team that you think, say a netball team or a football team that you think could benefit from this, I'm happy to come out to a training night or a training day and do these for all the players, because it's the information that we get out of it is fantastic. Unfortunately, I can't actually show you the information that I'm getting out of it while I'm doing it, because I need my iPad, which is what I'm actually talking to you on. But what I will do is I will post in the comments a few screenshots of the information that we can actually get out of it from the sensors that I've got on right now. So I'm just going to take a couple of steps backwards so you can actually see my fantastic fashionable pants today. So you can see the sensors, and I've got one on each leg. Okay, they take literally 15 seconds to put on. Okay, and then all we do in terms of the screening is we just do a double leg squat. Okay, and what we're looking at is we're looking at how much, if I do it on the side, how much bend we're getting through the ankle, and so it's what they call tibial inclination. So it's how much tilt we're getting. Gives us an idea of how confident you are on your feet, how much ankle mobility that you've got. It gives us an idea of how symmetrical you are doing that double leg squat. So it gives us an idea of pelvic rotation, things like that. Okay, so that's also just from doing one of the screening tests, which is the double leg squat. Okay, then we can also do a single leg squat. So we take you from a straight knee and going into a single leg squat and coming back up. Okay, again, we're looking at that tibial inclination, so how much ankle movement we've got, how confident you are. We also look at how much you get in a double leg squat compared to how much you get in a single leg squat. But we also start looking at, which we can look in the double leg squat, but it's not as obvious. We actually also look at how much turn in and turn out we get, okay? And we can look at that not just as a single number, but we can look at that through the movement, okay? So where are you getting that most turn in? Where are you getting that most turn out? And it's the turn in that we're particularly concerned about. That's showing a lack of control, okay? So, and that's starting to give us some ideas about what your landing mechanics are like, okay? And then the last test we do is just a single leg hop. So again, standing on one leg, loading, hop, land, and back up to a single standing position. Again, that's looking at our landing mechanics. And what we would expect to see if we've got a control issue, okay, so if we're looking at a knee, ankle or hip that doesn't have the strength to land, then we'd be looking at something that's that angle, so that turn in and turn out angle, are getting worse as we progress through those tests, okay? Now, you know, sometimes people would like to have what I call ostrich syndrome. Stick your head in the sand, you know, pretend that we don't have any issues, but then you're actually forced to confront those issues when you have an injury, okay? I would much rather screen people pre-season, mid-season, end of season. It doesn't matter when we screen, because when we screen is when we can start doing some what I call prehab or some injury prevention work, okay? That might require some flexibility work, some mobility, it might require some strength, it might require us to do some balance training. It just really, really depends on what we find in that testing. But isn't it better to know what it is that we're fighting rather than either doing nothing and then just waiting for the injury to come around, or doing rehab that's actually not targeted? So what this allows us to do is it allows us to do some really targeted injury prevention. If you've already got an injury, what it allows us to do is actually see what your control's like pre-injury, post-injury. Now that might be influenced by the injury itself, but then we can also test you post-rehab as well and see what your control's like at the end of your rehab. If that has improved, then the balance issues and the landing issues you had were related to your injury. If it doesn't improve, then what that means is it's likely that those balance and landing issues were actually the cause of your injury. And so if we send you back out onto the netball court or the football field or back playing with your kids on the weekend, the likelihood is if you do that same activity again, it's likely that you will actually get the same injury again, or we're putting you at a greater risk of getting that injury. So, you know, doing the screening is a really good tool, quick tool. You saw how quick it was for me to do it, to actually find out what those issues are that could potentially put you at greater risk of injuring your hip, knee or ankle. All right. So one of the things that I do here at Clear Physio is like I said before, I can do those screenings in-house, or I can come out and do it for a whole team. If you are interested in that, either comment below or send me a PM, and we can have a chat about, you know, what we can do, when we can organise that, and how long it would take. The advantages are, like I said, being able to do targeted rehab, and then also looking at preventative rehab instead of waiting for an injury to come along and then dealing with it and having someone out for 2, 4, 6 weeks. Cool. So I hope that's all made sense today. The other things that we can do with these sensors, so we can do, like I said, a knee assessment, a running assessment, so we can do a running assessment on a treadmill. We can also do a monitoring assessment of running, so you can actually put the sensors on and go out of the clinic and go for a run. The other things that we can do are low back assessment, so we can do a low back assessment in the clinic, but also we can do a 24-hour monitoring low back assessment as well. So you can put the sensors on, go away, go live your life, go do what you normally do, go sit at work, do sport, you know, whatever it is that you do in your day-to-day life. And then you can actually have a look. We can look at that data together, and we can start seeing where those, you know, potentially chronic low back issues are stemming from. So is it your sitting posture? Is it your standing posture? Is it you sit too much? Is it you stand too much? Is it that you know, your posture's altered? So, you know, we can look at all of those things over a 24-hour period in real time. So that's pretty exciting. So we can do lots of things with these sensors, the landing mechanics and the sort of knee, hip and ankle control is just one of those things. So I hope that all makes sense today. If there's no questions from anyone who's on live, I will sign out for today. Remember, I'm back 12 o'clock on a Tuesday, every Tuesday. Sorry, I was running a few minutes late today to answer any of your questions that you have. I'm happy for you to PM me during the week or comment on this video if you are watching it during the week in terms of topics that you'd like to hear about. It's always a little bit more interesting for you to listen to the video if it's something you're actually interested in, rather than me just banging on about, you know, what I like to talk about. So feel free, comment or PM me to suggest some topics of what you'd like to hear about. So if there's no questions, I will sign out for today. Have a great week. Enjoy the sunshine if you're in Melbourne, and I will speak to you all next week. Bye.